Good morning, students. During our last class, we have gone through the chapter The Shed, which is a poem. And the poet of the poem is Frank Flynn. Students, we have gone through the poem and we have learned that the poet Frank Flynn has shared his experience about a shed when he was a small child. His motto was to express the views of a child regarding the old shed. As I have mentioned, the shed is an old building or a room or a closet which is generally used to keep the old unused things, garden tools, or thrown away materials, or to keep kettles. So there was a shed in the garden of the poet, which was a bit away from his house. And whenever the poet used to see that shed, various kind of feelings come to his mind. He used to see the shed very closely, and he has seen a spider's web hanging across the door, and the hinges have also become rusty and creaked because they have not been maintained. And whenever the poet lies on the bed, he used to listen all these sounds, the creaking sounds of the rusty hinges. But still, he feels that one day he will open the door and see what is there inside it. Generally, it is the nature of the children that they are very curious and they want to go to the bottom or the root of everything. Then he has also observed the cracked panes of glasses, where the glasses of the window panes were cracked, and he feels that through those cracked panes, someone used to stare at him whenever he passes through the shed. He feels a bit afraid. He was a bit afraid, but at the same time, he thinks that one day he will peep through the window and see inside the shed. When the poet's brother has observed that he is fearful regarding the shed, he used to tell him stories that there is a ghost in the shed who hides there, and if he keeps his foot inside, if he goes inside the shed, he will jump out and he will chop his head. But then also the poet says or feels or thinks in his mind that one day he will go there. Towards the end, the poet feels that there is no such ghost in the shed, and his brother tells lies because he wants to occupy that shed, and there are no such strange noises there, and nobody is staring at him, and the spider has also gone away from his web. So he wants to go inside the shed, but not immediately. That is his plans. He's planning to go inside the shed, but he's waiting for that day very soon to be done. So, dear students, I think you have understood the poem's meaning. For your convenience, I have narrated it, I have explained it once more. So, as I have told you in the last class that we will write the question answers of this chapter, the poem. So, kindly take out your copy. You can write now also, or you can see in the PDF and you can copy it down. So, I will narrate the questions and answers. These questions are given in your book, and I have also given some questions from my side. And those questions are very easy. If you have understood the summary of the poem, you will be able to understand those answers, although I have given the answers from my side also. The first question which is given in the book, that is on page number 49, is who is the speaker of the poem? The answer is the speaker of the poem is poet Frank Flynn when he was a small boy, because Frank Flynn is a big person now, he's a man now, and a man can't have this kind of feelings as he has expressed in this poem. So the speaker is the poet is himself, but when he was a small boy. The second question is she or he afraid or curious or both? He or she is the speaker. Answer is she or he is curious and afraid both, as she or he always peep through that window and ready to take a peek one day, and at the same time he feels that someone is staring at him. So the poet is the speaker is curious and afraid both, because he always keeps in his mind that he will go one day, but at the same time he feels that somebody is staring at him. The third question is what is she or he planning to do soon? She or he is planning to go inside the shed soon. Dear students, in second question's answer, she or he is curious and afraid both, as she or he always peep through that window and ready to take a peek one day. This you can write later on also, and you can write he feels that someone is staring at him in the beginning. Our next question is, that is the fourth one, but not just yet suggests doubt, fear, hesitation, laziness, or something else. Choose the words which seems right to you and tell the reason also. It suggests the hesitation of the poet from going inside the shed, though he was confident that there were no ghosts, but still he was hesitated to go inside and thought that soon he will go inside the shed, but not immediately, as I have explained you when I was teaching you the poem. The next question is there a room in your house or a house in your neighborhood or locality where you should rather not go alone and never at night? Is there such place and a story to go with it? Let others hear all about. This question is totally a personal one, so I have written here the answer to the question is supposed to be done by the students themselves, so you have to write your own experience. This I cannot give you. Some more questions based on the poem The Shed are: first question, these questions are not there in your book, I have given from my side. What is the central idea of the poem The Shed? The central idea of the poem is rationality and fearlessness. The poem teaches us that we should not believe in baseless and imaginative stories about ghosts and other supernatural creatures. If we'll keep on believing in these stories, dear students, we will never rise in our life. We will be always fearful and we won't become smart and do our work ourselves. We have to always take our parents and elders with us, which is not for a person's not good for a person's life. Second question is, why were the hinges of the door rusty? That we know the hinges of the door were rusty since the doors were not open for a long time, as hardly anyone went inside the shed. So you might have seen at your home also that when a thing is not open for a longer time, a box or many other rooms, the locks, they become rusted and it's very difficult for a person to unlock it or open it. Our next question is, what does the speaker usually do while lying in the bed? This is a line in the poem also. The speaker generally thought of the idea of going inside the shed. Number 4 is, what does the broken glass window suggest? The broken glass panes of the dusty window, it is there in the poem, suggested or suggests lack of maintenance. There was hardly anybody who went inside the shed, so cleaning the shed was an impossible thing. Our last question is, according to the speaker's brother, where did the ghost hid himself? Or hide himself, we can say. According to the speaker's brother, the ghost hid himself under the rotten floorboards of the shed. So these are the question answers, dear students. I hope you'll be able to write in your fair copy, you have to write in your course copy all these answers so that it will be helpful for you. Don't leave it in the PDFs, because later on it will be difficult for you to find out those answers. So better you copy it down in your notebook. So your homework for today is learn the answers of the questions of the shed which are given and write them in your notebook. You have to learn also, so that when the school will reopen, you won't be feeling difficulty in understanding these things, and you'll be ready with your things also. Okay, students, I'm going to wind up here. Till then, goodbye. Stay safe. Thank you.